Uh-oh. Hmm, let's see. Participants, only one.
You're gonna move the camera away from you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's only one participant. And that's us.
Okay,
So I can just end this because there's no meeting. Correct?
um.
Well, we can keep it on,
We can call it to order, we can table the minutes.
and table the minutes and we'll, this is just a work session.
Right, you have invoices though,
I had one invoice that was for the renderings
okay?
and Lisa didn't seem to have it. I know I sent it to her as well as you guys. Carlson had one.
Yeah.
Lisa asked me to leave that one for her and I will.
Okay, well, yeah. I would agree with it, it's the select board that determines paying of that, correct?
What's that?
Any invoices?
Yeah, just give it to Lisa there and then that comes to us and then,
All right, well, we'll call the meeting to order November 13th, 2024 at 5:19. Any adjustments to the agenda?
well, let's state
Comment?
there that we have no quorum.
Yep.
This is a work session.
We will table the approval of the minutes until
The next one,
November meeting.
December meeting, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, September meeting. Thank you.
Behind the times.
Both summertime. So I guess we'll just roll into discussion.
All right, so just to inform you guys, Robert and I were having a discussion here earlier as far as trying to, I mean, we have some very rough guesstimates there cost-wise. And in order to try to trim that down a bit. And I don't know what your guys' feelings are on this, but to do away with the in-floor radiant heat for the firehouse.
Yep.
And the other one would be to possibly do away with the SIP panels there for the roof, and then we go with regular insulation.
So would that change the truss design? Okay. That was a question I had.
What are your feelings on that, John?
I think, going with less insulation or, staying with the SIP panels is a smart thing.
To stay with them?
Stay with them.
Yeah,
You're gonna save that money in the long run. The radiant heat is something you could do without, especially if you probably, haven't really gone through the mechanicals. We don't have mechanicals yet.
No.
So you're gonna use an air handling unit, which have a heat pump associated with it. The radiant floor is nice, but as long as you keep the insulation in the floor and the
Yeah.
foundation walls,
you're gonna have the heat sink.
you're gonna have it, still have the heat sink, whether
And you go a couple space heaters in the garage.
whether the radiant's in there or not, but the SIP panels on the roof, I think is an important.
Yeah,
I would look to cut other stuff before I'd cut that. That's something you're not gonna add back in.
Right.
right,
Yeah,
that's true, that's true.
Well, I think just, we've been talking to Chris, you know, the radiant floor heating in itself, plus the foundation prep for it will save significant amount of money.
Yeah, and I think more and more people are moving away from the radiant floors. I was a big fan of it. I put it in a lot of buildings. I have it in my house.
I
but-
loved it.
Huh?
I loved it. but-
Yeah.
But
But, you know, with the heat pump technology now and insulation, you know, I don't think I'd put it in again if I was building my own house.
yeah. So on that, on this other note that you brought up, like with mechanicals now. And this is not really Robert's fault. I was hoping to find a contractor that would lay this stuff out as far as, you know, whether it be a sprinkler system, the heating system. I mean, we can have notes to say, well, okay, this is what we're looking at doing there, but I was hoping there that somebody there would put this out there that they're responsible for the design of it, you know?
Mhm.
And I don't know if this, you know, commercial versus residential, there can be totally different here as far as I just don't wanna go through and pick somebody to say, well, okay, design me the system that we're paying for. And then they aren't chosen, you know, down the road.
So I can jump in here. I don't design those things. But in the past, I would retain an engineer to do mechanical. I'd retain an engineer to do sprinkler, stuff like that. I can still reach out and do that if you guys want me to. It's minimal cost on my end, because basically all I'm doing is coordinating, reviewing stuff and going back and forth, but that's up to you guys. I just throw it out there, but
So
Now-
in your experience, when you took on a project of this, a commercial building,
Mhm. Even some large residentials.
your company would hire somebody to take care and to do the MEP.
Yes. Because we were doing design build, so we were basically in Robert's role and the builder
Okay.
or the general contractor.
most contractors I've learned in the state, they actually take work away from architects and engineers, because they get the job and then they go out and actually farm that kind of stuff out.
Right.
I had a really good friend, the guy that did the, some research for us way back when. He was like an owner's rep for UVM Hospital.
Yep.
And he did all that stuff. And basically, he kind of oversaw the contractor. And we were doing the camp out in mid Vermont. And he actually stepped in, and I let him take it over, and he actually brought people in, engineers, architects, and did that building. Or buildings there. It's rare to see an architect take on a job and get all that mechanical and all that other stuff, because the contractor does it when he.
The contractor does, or you do as the owner, as part of the design process. You know, hiring an MEP engineer is a really smart thing on a project like this. You know, yes, it's money up front, but it solves a lot of conflict problems after.
So I have a question about that, and I don't care either way. In the town garage building, you throw a couple space heaters up there and some baseboard with a small boiler, and you kind of have we're having a through the wall air conditioner for the office, but other than that, we were done. So MEP, what would they be doing for you?
Well-
On that building especially.
This, you know, it's, you know, you don't want to simplify systems like that. Because, you know, if they're not working, who do you blame?
Right.
You know, you have, because one of the things, you know, you have your air exchange system.
Yep.
You know,
So you're doing it more from a liability perspective and having someone to go back to.
yeah, and you're not gonna, you know, so you're gonna hire a plumber, you're gonna hire somebody to put the heating system in. Who's coordinating them,
Correct.
who's, you
Gotcha.
know, and if one thing doesn't work, they're gonna point the fingers at
Correct.
the other person. So if you have a design, it could be, even if it's simple. At least it's a coordinated design.
Coordinated and he has control over it.
And you can say, you know, then you can, you know, get some better pricing. You'll get better pricing because they know what they gotta build,
you know,
and it's not their responsibility. If it, you know, if it doesn't work, it's the engineer has to come in and make it
Okay.
right. It's not that it's not their responsibility. They still have to do it correctly, but they're not just, you know, saying, well, you know, that's what you wanted and we put that in and, you
They
know.
design that, that's what they do for a living, so.
Right.
yeah.
And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. I mean, some of these, you know, mechanical engineering firms, they'll,
Mhm.
you know, they take all different size stuff.
Yep.
It's not like you're building a, you know, a 400,000 square foot, you know, environmentally
Well, you-
conscious
you get the
building.
fire
It's
station,
just,
that's a
you
much
know,
bigger animal.
it's a big garage.
Right.
But it is a commercial space. It is your fire station. It, you know,
well,
and you need state permits.
Well,
Yeah.
that was gonna be my
Yeah.
next thing.
Now, the engineer doesn't get the state permits, but you need the,
Then
you know, your plumbers are gonna need the plans to
Right.
get the state permit.
Let's
Yeah.
all the,
okay,
yeah, all right.
so. Then probably what we wanna do then is to. Maybe Chris. Maybe Chris can look into that. As far as you know, for the mechanicals.
And if you guys do reach out and you find somebody you're gonna hire, I can then forward my AutoCAD files to them and they can
Right,
have a major start on it. They don't have to start drawing all that stuff. It's already drawn. They can take it from there and do what they have to do.
Yeah,
Right.
and it makes it a lot easier if they have a,
okay,
And I have no problems there.
you know, and you have Chris call around to a couple, you know, you look them up, you know, and they'll
Yeah.
just call different ones. I mean, you know, the guys I used, that was 20 years ago, so, you know, some of them are still
So
around.
MEP and sprinkler, what else? Is there anything else?
Well, it'd be, you know, no, that's it. Sprinkler is separate.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. And sprinklers, that typically would be designed by the sprinkler
Company.
company, yeah.
You know, I'm under the square footage. We're under the square footage. Footprint wise, but I don't know how they calculate the square footage, whether it's total floor space.
I think it's the per floor. I don't think it's the total, but I thought we were over on it because the building had been under it when we first designed it the last time.
6912,
This time I think we're over. I thought 6,000 was the number.
69,
69.
6912.
Shit, you take 12 square feet out easily then.
So, anything under 7,000 gets the exemption. Now Grand Island South Hero got the exemption.
Mhm.
However. South Hero is now. So they're looking at adding some living quarters in the next 5 years. So they can't attach it to the existing building. Because it's not sprinkled and it was never roughed in.
That's what I was just gonna say. It'd be smart to think about roughing it in.
So now they're faced with putting an additional. Smaller building adjacent to the fire station, which would manage the living quarters, the kitchen, you know, all that kind of stuff.
so that brings up because. What we had discussed about that was that. We were not going to totally build out. That section,
Oh, no, you're right. No, you're correct.
so, but. It's important there to get the rough in,
Yes.
so that. When that happens,
In conversations with people around town, and I mentioned sprinkled versus non-sprinkled. The majority feels that that building should be sprinkled.
correct. And I agree
It's
with
a
that,
fire station.
I agree.
Yes.
Now, do you have, water capacity there? the sprinkler? Or do
Yes. Yeah,
you do?
I've talked to, Larry Dupont about it, shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
We got it, it's on it's on the plan. So I think we have a 4-inch main going into the building. Should be adequate. I think they only require a 1-inch. I think this building's got a 1-inch feed off the main line. I think it's two, and then the sprinkler's driven with a 1.
So in New York City, they made it easy. They have an engineer design a sprinkler system, well, they actually had in their code. Square footages and stuff like that, and if you follow this, it was over designed, but you basically you design it. Basically on a footprint basis, and they had layouts done for you in the code, like you followed that. You didn't need to do this, I did a lot of sprinkler plans in New York, the hardest part of that was the coming in, the meter and all that other stuff, and then that had to go to the fire department and approve them. But the way they did their code, they just made it easy, because there was a lot of architects who did a lot of the engineering stuff. If I know how to do, I worked for an engineer, so I did a lot of engineering stuff back way when. But a lot of architects didn't have that background, so they didn't do that stuff. I did a lot of sprinkler, but again, the code made it easy the way they did it. Here, they don't have anything like that, so it's gotta be actually designed by an engineer or a plumber. Sprinkler guy.
Usually it's sprinklers.
Yeah, it'd be the, there's a place in Colchester, I forget the gal's name.
You know, it's Cedar Ridge and
Uh,
there's a couple of them,
Yeah.
I think the guy's still around.
yeah. There's a guy in St. Albans.
But also it helps reduce your insurance too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thoughts were just, go with it. Um.
So we should move forward.
I'll talk to Chris about doing some research on that NEP.
Yep. Yeah.
So downstairs. There's a set of. Full size drawings for you.
Okay,
Just ask Lisa and Corinne, they know where it is.
As opposed to knowing your name on them, so.
okay. I'll grab those tomorrow.
If you can see any. Cost saving measures as you're perusing them.
I will go through them. Most of my projects are done, so I got time. Most to put away.
Um,
The yard is done, docks are up, stairs are up.
I did reach out to Chris Boyd. Division of Fire Safety. Before he retires, I sent him a nice email. Yeah, he's getting ready to retire. So I sent him the drawings and asked him nicely, and he could just kind of give us a off the record opinion on, is there stuff we might need to change, did we forget something? I've known him for quite a few years, so I'm hoping he'll just take a peek at them.
Well, good.
All right,
He was the first fire inspector I ever met out on a job.
It's a good guy.
Yeah, I think he came on when he wasn't the first one. I can't remember who the other guy was.
Yeah, he bought a puppy from me when I had chocolate line, yeah. Really.
well, I would think that that's a big step though, if we can
Well, we
get Chris to look into that and.
got some time now considering, we push back.
Yeah.
Till spring.
And,
Did you, were you able to get, any kind of budget estimate from? Don
Very,
or-
very rough one,
Very rough.
very rough, and. So, the numbers that were spit out. What, 3.2 for the firehouse? And
1.2 for public works.
1.2 for public works.
And he looked at,
And that's very rough. I mean, and
Oh, yeah.
that was just because, you know, he's been in and out of this for a little bit, but I mean, he's kind of out of it,
Mhm.
um, but anyway,
But you said.
It's-
They're on the high side.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I think that that's what he wanted to err on the high side.
Well,
So,
and that's what you want, right?
yeah, exactly. We don't want to be backpedaling or,
Yeah.
you know,
How does that meet up with your previous expectation?
it doesn't.
It never does.
it doesn't when we look at. You know, I don't know what the Grand Isle Public Works building was, that was COVID. I can find out, but that's, you know, that's. 8,000, 9,000 square feet, I think total overall, but that, you know, that whole project, so.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's,
And it's bigger foundation.
yeah, taller, you know, tall, it's a good sized building.
My guesstimates were, these are all guesstimates there, but I was hoping there that Public Works would be under a mill, just under a mill, okay? Because those monies, we have the monies there to be able to take care of that. And my goal on the fire station there was about 2.4. So, and like I said, these are very rough and it's to err on the high side, which is better. I think we can firm these things up there by getting the MEP, you know. Because that gives a lot more insight,
Mhm.
you know, to get these numbers. So,
Yeah, on the fire building, the air scrubbers kind of threw him for a loop. He wasn't really sure, he just kind of guessed on that, his guess was actually pretty high because the units are actually standalone.
Mhm.
Each one monitors, you know, so there's 4 of them that, based on the square footage. Which is a little. 3 would do it adequately, 4,
you're about up and above, that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
4 would be better. Based on the, you know, the area that they're gonna service, but, you know, each one of those units is standalone. And they're $5,500 each.
Mhm.
So I price this a little bit higher than that.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
So there's, and we're not, you know, we're not opposed, you know.
There's no ductwork on the ones you were looking at, or?
No, they actually, they pull the air in, they filter it and deposit it back into the room.
Okay.
Both Grand Isle and South Hero use them.
That was a product, I didn't know what it was. You told me what it was. I went and looked it up. And then I went online and I said, I don't know prices, but that price I kind of knew because I was just looking them up and they had them all over the place,
Yeah,
prices and stuff.
Yeah, and that's a new, this is the last time I did what did I do, Green Mountain Power building in St. Johnsbury. So you had, they didn't have air scrubbers, you had, you know, makeup air units and air exchange units, so you were
Right.
exhausting and bringing them in.
yeah,
So that's a much more complicated system.
you know, and the exhaust capture systems were, you know, are the ones that require the, you know, the hoses to the trucks and the track as the truck is exiting and, you know, so those are. A lot of departments have. Not utilize those and they've gone with these newer units because they not only do the exhaust. But they also do the, you know. Stuff that's off gassing off the hose and the turnout gear, so it's all those,
Basically, it's an air.
yeah.
I got a little one in my shop.
So, yeah, trim.
Well, I think we, like I said before, we can get. I think a lot closer, once we get certain things narrowed down.
Yeah.
Because then that gives a better picture for,
So now, for now, we're gonna
Somebody
keep
take a
the
look.
metal roof, but get rid of the in-floor heating.
get rid of the floor heating.
Yeah.
And the walls were what? Well, here we go. So
You had some tall.
you had 2.8, you had 2x8 for the walls.
You,
I think you're gonna need, you're gonna need something there. Like with the Public Works building, those are tall walls.
Yeah.
You know,
that's kind of why I went with the 2x8s. I
Yeah.
mean, you might get away with the 2x6s. It's just, I can't imagine the cost being that much more.
yeah,
I mean, it's more, everything, you blink, everything's more.
Yeah,
ready.
yeah.
Oh, my 2x6s to 2x8s, the same amount, it's the same amount of lumber pieces.
Mhm.
It's just, it's 2 inches bigger. It just,
Yeah.
And you might have to go to 1-foot centers with 2x6s,
Right.
yeah, I didn't think of that, but yes.
so. But, you know,
Solid-
and I
solid
think
block.
I told Mike, it's, you know, and you know. The cost isn't in the lumber and material, that's not where the cost is, you're out saving huge amounts of money there.
No, we just did
Yeah.
one there and because we had to put blocking in.
And that you would have to put block in.
That added,
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
and that adds quite a bit to labor.
yeah,
Labor and cost.
Yeah, so,
so,
Well, we want these buildings to last.
yeah. Did you look at SIPs for the walls?
I did not, I just thought that was just gonna be so much more money in my mind.
There's a lot of labor,
Yeah,
figure. They come and stand them up, they stand them up for you.
yeah.
Insulation's there, sheathing's there.
Yeah. I mean, that's an easy change on the drawing,
Yeah.
that's not,
So maybe a mixed, so like the apparatus bays. Could use those versus. You know, the offices and the storage area upstairs, which eventually would be. Well, after I'm gone, living quarter.
But it's something that, it would be a good comparison, because, you know, it might in the long run save you money.
that's one of those things I would not change now, but get prices to compare. And at that point, we can always change it.
And it's easy to get prices, you can send the plans to Ford Panel and they'll
Yeah.
send you back a plan,
who's that?
Ford Panel,
Ford
I
panel?
live in New Hampshire. And, I think, Green Mountain Post and Beam, and they're in Starksboro, I think they make
Yeah, I don't know if
SIP
they,
panels.
yeah,
too.
they may actually.
They
make
used
them
to,
there.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they do, but Ford Panel, that's all they do.
Right,
Um,
Is there anybody in? Isn't there somebody in Quebec as well?
there is.
there
yeah.
is in Quebec.
And I've done a couple SIPs houses, they, you know, that were. You know, a couple hybrids, a couple posts and beams that were,
Oh, you like that?
I'm a fan of SIPs panels, yeah.
I like them too, I just, most people balk at them, I just don't understand why.
Yeah. And you
I've never
got,
done them,
you got a really tight enclosure
yeah.
Yeah.
and no venting issues.
See, that's the struggle I have as an architect, we don't know prices. Every time I do something like that, I'll get a contract, oh, you can't do this, just too costly, so I'm taking people's word for that kind of stuff. I didn't have like someone like you in my back pocket that I could trust, because I know you know what you're doing, because you're doing it a long time. And you don't have any incentive either. Certain contractors don't like working in certain products,
Mhm.
so they'll shove you in a different direction and build something else up to get you away from something.
They've got a Vermont rep.
Yeah.
Looks like the same guy that does in New England. Yep.
Yeah, it's worth talking to them. Have Chris contact them, and it's as simple as giving them a set of plans and say,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm all in favor of that. I haven't done them, I've watched them. And it goes pretty damn quick. So,
I've actually done a couple, camp retrofits where we put 6 panels on top.
Yeah.
And put new roofs on.
uh,
House now, everything, freaking house is 2x6s. The floor joists are 2x6s, the rafters are 2x6s. I'm having a horror show with this right now.
all right.
Does this building need to, meet the Vermont Energy Code? Foundation installation,
Yep,
under
yep.
slab installation,
Slab.
which is. You wanna do
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
that's just,
Oh, yeah.
it gives you heat, so,
Yeah.
whether you have the radiant or not. doesn't-
Yeah, no, I agree. Not that you can get around it anyway, but
Well, you know, my little shop, 26 by 36. Heavy insulation in the floor.
the only thing I don't like about it is like we have garage door. You have to separate the slab and bring the insulation right up to the slab. And you're gonna jump that. It's like, it's a horrible fucking detail. I just don't understand why.
Use expansion joint stuff.
Yeah,
That's, you know,
well, you have to.
but I didn't bother doing that, but I insulated the floor and
Yep.
and the walls, the walls are 2 by 6 with 2 inches of foam and 3.5 inches of rock salt.
Yeah.
I have a heater in there, but never gets below freezing.
No.
Did you flash the walls?
Yeah.
Yeah, you flashed them and then you put the,
Where you located, John?
Right up, Route 2,
north of Cary Bay.
north of Cary Bay Campground,
Okay,
on the east side.
that's what I should say. I kind of know what stretch of houses in there, so I don't.
Yeah, it was,
Got a hell of a driveway.
Is that one of those you go down like this and go back up?
Yeah,
Okay, I know exactly where you're at.
and it comes back at you.
Yeah.
That all happened when they changed Route 2, when they, you know, in fact, I lost a half an acre of property. I wasn't there then, but the property lost that.
No,
Half an acre.
that's back when the Corkers had it. Oh. You know, all right,
Well, we got, so I'll assign Chris those,
give Chris a pat on the back and.
So is he officially the clerk of the works now?
Well, we gotta, Harry and I gotta sit down with Chris there, but yeah, I would say, you know, I have full faith in Chris.
Yeah.
And, I guess the big thing there to, you know, I mean, Chris he's expressed certain concerns. And there are certain things there, that we can do on a town level. Other ones there, it's like, we gotta be careful, so, but we'll get that worked out.
Yeah, you know, is it, like, is he a town employee or is it subcontract?
Well, there you go, that right now is one of the big question marks, so.
well, you'll be at least monitoring the station progress. 'Cause that'll be a directive.
All right. Okay,
Well, she got looks like November, next meeting would be November 13th.
how about December?
December 13th.
December, let me open the calendar here.
You better start buying your Christmas gift
Man,
before
man.
it comes and goes.
Now you have to remember there, come December there, before Christmas, there are lots of people have these little get-togethers, but if it's on a Wednesday, then it should be all
It's
right.
the 11th.
11th.
Yeah.
You heading south this year for any time?
No, I'm not heading south. I'll head south there next year. April there, I'm looking at the end of April. I see my mother once a year as long as she's breathing,
Mhm.
so and she's doing great. Well, 90, she's gonna be 94 and he's plucking right away, lifting weights and, you know, so, she's doing well. So, Anyway. All right,
So I'll just pass this off to you to Lisa.
just leave that right there. Lisa will come and get it. So, she's aware of it.
Well, I'll pick up the plan
So-
downstairs tomorrow. I'll be coming through here. So.
Okay, shall we, close this work session?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna close it. Close the work session at what, 5:52?